right. And now all of them are fighting amongst each other, and I can't even figure it out.
Jessica, I don't follow the far right crazies because I am one. No, but I don't know what. But I'm pretty sure they don't say rape doesn't matter, or rapes of Jewish women on October 7th. I don't know anybody on the right who say
They're
that.
saying.
How can I mean, CNN had this guy on. Crazy.
Well, yeah, it's not. You have to watch the full tape of it. He's saying what Dana was saying, which he thinks that Israel's response is not proportionate to what was done to Israelis.
He has
not
no right to say that.
Right.
Right. Then you should just not like him. And a lot of people don't like him.
But you do?
But no, it's not really a like or don't like thing. I think
Think
that
he's handsome? Is that it?
he's objectively handsome. Look at the New York Times profile of him. I mean, he is.
Of course,
My queen. My queen.
I'm going to take a hard pass on it.
No. But the reason that there's a profile of him, which includes a lot of the incendiary things that he said, is that he does have this big audience. And I think that the fight within my party about whether to go on Hasan Piker's stream or have him campaign for you is about dealing with the issues from the 2024 election. How we talk about Israel and the Democratic Party's relationship to it. How we talk about corruption and anti-establishment sentiment. How we talk about universal health care, housing, education. These are issues that he talks about a lot in these streams. And he has millions of people, a lot of young men who are voicing real concerns about how they can get ahead in society, not what they think about some woman who fled communist something.
Yeah, just something that happened to some chick in a communist country, Jesse. How is this?
They're spending every damn day talking about this. You wish you had a fraction of Charles Ellis Schumer's sexual energy, you fool. Quit yapping and take some much-needed notes from his sexual prowess. Hold on. Democrats are, of course, once again failing to differentiate. They come across like they agree with the goals, just not the methods of Trump that have now openly failed. You're on Fox 5 right now. Now demonstrably failed. They should always tie this back. Dems should always tie this back to illegality and immorality. Tie this back to the illegality and immorality of engaging in this unjust and costly war against Iran to begin with. Reinforce demands to restrain Israel. Oh, wait, I'm on Fox 5. Oh, that's different, actually. Hold up. I will watch that. It's my favorite news program on Fox News. Never mind. That's actually pretty tight. I didn't understand. When you said Fox 5, I thought you meant like a local Fox affiliate or something.
Wow. Progressive Democrat Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed inviting Hasan Piker to a rally yesterday, refusing to condemn any of Piker's pathetic beliefs.
Are there any views that Hasan holds that you disavow?
I'm not here to disavow people's views. This whole gotcha game, platform policing, cancel culture, I thought we were over it.
So, Dana, I think what gets my goat, since we're talking about Hasan Piker,
wait,
here's
what?
the party
What does that mean?
decries toxic masculinity.
Is he trying to say I'm a goat fucker because my name is
denies
Hasan?
the rapes on October 7th, which is basically just a horrible thing to say. Anybody who knows about October 7th knows what happened there. And he's a scumbag. How can the Democrat Party coddle that?
I think it's almost worse than that, because he doesn't just deny it. He says it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. That's just the cost of war. Too bad, ladies. The things he said about women are pretty incredible. But we've gone over this before. Like, we make fun of sexism because it's like a way to like deal with it. It's like, it's funny. I can laugh about how women are bad drivers, haha. But like, I actually am not great. And yet you have all the stories we've talked about in terms of the victims of illegal immigrant crime. 98% of them are women. You don't hear anything from anybody about that. Remember the lady who said, well, she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sorry, ladies. I mean,
I like that the game of telephone is like swapped at this point to be like Hasan participated in October 7 and committed sexual assaults. Like it's basically, we're like 1 week away from them saying I did October 7.
Trying to win a primary. They think that's where they have to be. There are a lot of people that listen to those shows and they listen to shows on the far right. But remember the kind of hell that President Trump had to pay for having dinner with Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
And that's caused a huge fracturing on the right. And now all of them are fighting amongst each other, and I can't even figure it out.
Jessica, I don't follow the far right crazies because I am one. No, but I don't know what. But I'm pretty sure they don't say rape doesn't matter, or rapes of Jewish women on October 7th. I don't know.
Wait, what?
Right
Are they? They're
that.
saying.
How can I mean, CNN had this guy on. Crazy.
Well, yeah, it's not. You have to watch the full tape of it. He's saying what Dana was saying, which he thinks that Israel's response is not proportionate to what was done to Israelis.
He has
not
no right to say that.
Right.
Right. Then you should just not like him. And a lot of people don't like him.
But you do?
But no, it's not really a like or don't like thing. I think
he's
that
handsome. Is that it?
he's objectively handsome. Look at the New York Times profile of him. I mean, he is.
Of course,
My queen.
My
queen.
I'm gonna take a hard pass on it.
No. But the reason that there's a profile of him, which includes a lot of the incendiary things that he said, is that he does have this big audience. And I think that the fight within my party about whether to go on Hasan Piker's stream or have him campaign for you is about dealing with the issues from the 2024 election. How we talk about Israel and the Democratic Party's relationship to it. How we talk about corruption and anti-establishment sentiment. How we talk about universal health care, housing, education. These are issues that he talks about a lot in these streams. And he has millions of people, a lot of young men who are voicing real concerns about how they can get ahead in society, not what they think about some woman who fled communist something.
Yeah, just something that happened to some chick in a communist country, Jesse. How is this not toxic masculinity? You know, the people that often call you a toxic masculine source are embracing this guy.
They are. Well, who cares? The thing about this is I kind of liked his answer to it. He goes, I don't think we want to get into platform policing and cancel culture. I agree with that. So if this guy wants to run and win, he thinks this guy could help him win, give it a shot. Give it a shot in Michigan. You know what? Right. I respect it. Own it.
What?
This could cost you huge, but
if
that's how you really feel, do it. I really don't care. We had Ward Churchill. Remember him? Ward Churchill. America deserved 9/11. Now, I didn't think any politician would be inviting Ward Churchill to a rally and be like, I stand with the guy. But things have changed. People say all kinds of stuff now. And
oh, my God.
We just have to say, this is some crazy guy, but I like him. He might be too crazy for you. He might be obnoxious and disgusting, but you know what? I'm going to run with this guy. And if I win, I win. If I lose, it might be a little bit his fault. And it's your fault for the bad judgment. It's all about judgment.
Spoken like.
Wait, I think Jesse literally believes that I'm a misogynist, so he's now offering respect.
I'm going to go to you about 9/11 because you were there. And when you hear this, I mean, you do get a free punch out of it, don't you?
Do you think Jesse Waters is like, he's like, yeah, I like the guy because he's like, I believe he's misogynistic now.
Let's recognize the currents that are blowing through this, okay? This is where a lot of the young people are, and let's recognize what it is, okay? He is doing the stuff that we talked about in the A block. He's using blame Israel as the panacea for every ill in the world. It is Israel's fault, period, end of story. That's
horrible.
What is embedded in this.
That's a
period.
terrible way to
by the way,
respond
he's not
to
Palestinian,
this.
He's Turkish. but that becomes the be-all and end-all excuse for anything he wants to say. And so as a result of 7 October, he can say America owned 9/11, deserved it, et cetera. And all I can say is thank you, Teachers Union, because he's got millions of young men who are following this thing, who know nothing about world history, who know nothing about American history, who have no idea how lucky they are to be here. And the current blowing through this is a marriage right now of Islamism, not Islam, Islamism, and the far left. There's a term for it. It's actually called the watermelon revolution.
I think
right?
Waters has the real
being
take of someone who thinks you're a bad person and wants the Democrats to lose. Yeah.
Islamism. And by the way, that's the same union that gave us the mullahs in Iran. If you look into it, those two were aligned in 1979. This is not unprecedented. And the commonality is America sucks. Let's recognize that.
It's a problem on the right and the left with the Israel issue. And there's new polling out from Pew. 60% of adults have an unfavorable view. You're ignoring what is going on in the fracturing of our relationship with Israel in general.
That's true.
You are.
No, hold on, but I didn't say anything about the right, and I don't like what's in Fuentes either. You know what I mean? But this idea that it all comes back to, you know what? I got to be elected wherever I run, and 9/11 was deserved because I don't like the Israelis.
All right, we got to go.
Wait, what? That has nothing to do with the Israelis. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Oh, great. They moved on to more important stuff. That's okay. I don't know what he is. I don't know what the fuck he was on, but it's very funny. It's very funny that these guys over and over again keep unironically boosting my profile, calling me hot in the fucking process. And some of them are tactically retreating. Like Jesse Waters, I think, is probably saying this because, like, it's good to associate campaigns with a dangerous guy like this because people will be repulsed by his worldview. But the irony, of course, is that when he says, when the main takeaway and the main response is like, oh, this guy actually channels a lot of the voices of young people, it ends up failing, right? There's not really an argument they can make in this circumstance because they're Republicans. Like, Republicans can't make that argument at all, right? Stop simping for terrorists. No one cares about the opinions of third worlders. Got it, man. Thank you. So here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you're Fox News and you say my worldview is repulsive and Democrats should shy away from it, right? You look like a fucking hypocrite because you're trying to engage in petty cancel culture, and a lot of people that deploy it, right? A lot of people that deploy that kind of cancel culture against their ideological enemies, ironically enough, create this environment where, like, the normies in the middle, they get annoyed by it. They don't want to hear it, especially not right now, right? If you're a fucking normie and you're tuning into Fox News, if you're like an independent and you're tuning into Fox News, don't know what you're doing, but and you're trying to figure out like what the Republican agenda is in this moment where, you know, Donald Trump is like engaging in spectacular fuck ups that are leading to your gas prices going up at the pump. And you hear people constantly fucking harping on like, oh, this guy who's like anti-Israel is an anti-Semite. And you've heard it before for the past 2.5 years, right? Your takeaway from that is not going to be, wow, this guy is really bad and Democrats should really stay away from him. Your takeaway is going to be, why the fuck am I listening to this again? Like, who cares? Who cares who the fuck this guy is? Why are you whining? Like, you're Republicans. We know where your allegiances are. We know what values you represent. It just doesn't make any sense. What's frustrating about this is you're just a lol cow, dude. Yeah, I know. I'm totally. That's what's going on here, chatter. I like that the only way that you can frame whatever is happening in the universe is through like internet terminology such as lol cowing. It's a demonstration of your lack of intelligence. It makes no fucking sense, but if you had any fucking friends in the real world, you probably understand that that's an idiotic thing to say out loud. Anyway, You're a lolcow dude. Now you've been on Fox News, so even my parents know you're a POS. That's what he said. People who say lolcow are fucking lolcows. Yeah, I know. Fox News has done, I think, 10 hits on me in the past 48 hours, if not more. They obviously, I think, overestimate my motion. I don't think I have this level of motion. CNN has also done this as well. They think that I have make it or break it status for campaigns. It's very clear that a lot of powerful interests in the country that have some control over both parties, that want to reinforce their level of influence over both parties, are looking at someone like myself and giving me unnecessary flattery. I am not a kingmaker. Okay? I'm not a kingmaker at all. What I am doing, however, is representing the resentment and the anger of the masses. The anger that you all feel that business as usual politics has not worked for you. That politicians do not represent your interests, but instead, politicians and the media class, for the most part, represent the interests of corporations. Everybody understands that. This is a bipartisan issue, okay? You have Republicans and Democrats and independents alike that look at mainstream media as oppositional to their needs. You have a lot of people in this country that look to politicians and say, these guys suck. They don't represent me at all. And when those unpopular figures are launching haymaker after haymaker, especially on an issue that is 90-10 in the Democratic Party's base, it's clear that these guys are willing to throw it all out there to the best of their ability to try to forcibly separate myself, my community, from campaigns by creating this panic, by basically creating this manufactured outrage. Okay? It's not going to work, because at the end of the day, the frustrations are not going to go away, right? The frustrations are not going to go away. People are done. People are sick and tired of it. They want a Trump-style figure to also emerge from the Democratic Party, okay? And by that, I mean someone who can be a voice for the people. And Trump certainly was a voice for their resentment and manipulated a bunch of people and took their resentment, recognized it, said, you're right to be angry, and then redirected that anger to vulnerable populations, to marginalized groups, to undocumented immigrants, right? And if there was actually a force on the opposition party side that took the anger and the frustration that people feel and then redirected it to actual vectors of power towards people and corporations that control the levers of power in this country, the forces of capital, they would be unbelievably successful. Okay? I'm just one person. I'm one person that happens to be very popular only because I share that same exact resentment. I share that same exact anger. And my goal is to channel that frustration back to the real people that are responsible for why you have a hard time paying rent, for why your price at the pump is going up, for why no one is seemingly dealing with the inflation crisis, for why you can't actually own a home. You can't get a good job that's reliable with decent benefits. And why you can't do that in the wealthiest nation on earth. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. with or without me, if candidates also channeled that frustration, they would win. These people in media that are beholden to the same corporate interests that politicians are beholden to are trying to sever that tie because they see me as a singular force that is changing people's minds. To a certain degree, I'm capable of doing that. That much is clear. But I'm one person. I don't have that much of a profound reach, and I have no capabilities of hypnotizing people. People have come to their own conclusions on Israel from all of the violence that they've seen, from all the arrogance demonstrated by envoys of Israel, the demands to silence people who are opposing Israel in the United States of America. People have said, why should we be beholden to the interests of a foreign country that is only able to behave in this belligerent manner because of our tax dollars going to them? Okay? That's it. People have arrived at these conclusions on their own. Cat's out of the bag. Toothpaste is out of the tube. You cannot put it back in. So all of these attacks, they amount to nothing. People who hate me will feel emboldened in their hatred. They will use this as an opportunity to say, see, even Fox News hates them. See, look at these moderate Democrats that have spoken out against them. And people who like me are going to feel emboldened because now we're under attack. Okay? There's some people in the middle who will maybe slot themselves into, well, this guy's a bad guy. I believe the things that I'm seeing about him, and I hate him without actually looking for the necessary context or thinking critically about it. And a lot more people, I think, will come here, as they have done so, and search for their own answers. However, make no mistake, and I will keep reiterating this, this is not an attack against me. Okay? This is an attack against all of you. They cannot yell at every single person. They can't say, everyone shut the fuck up about Israel right now. But what they can do is take advantage of the existing treasure trove of clips out of context and bias framings that already exist out there in the ether to undermine, malign, and smear someone who is representative of your interests. Because they can't, if they were to come out and basically say, like, everyone that feels this way about Israel is an anti-Semite that needs to fucking be denaturalized and deported, well, that's a whole lot of Americans, right? So all they can do is just like figure out what kind of like effective targets, cut the head of the snake, if you will. Because at the end of the day, they can't attack the message. So they try to undermine the messenger. That's it. That's it. That's all this is. And I'm glad that there are smart enough politicians out there who actually are not playing ball with this, who unironically are showing this, showing their stances by saying, look, we're not playing these games any longer. Okay? We're not playing these games. It's ridiculous. I'm glad. I'm glad that at least I can bring some attention to certain candidates, right? And not only that, but also on top of that, I'm glad that they can use this as an opportunity to say they're bold. Okay? To say, no, we're not compromising. It's totally ridiculous. Because after all, no matter how vulgar I might be, no matter how vulgar and angry I could be presented, after all, I talk professionally for a living. There's, thousands, tens of thousands of hours of material that they can work with. No matter how vulgar I might seem, the issues that I'm raising and the values that I represent are actually the righteous values. They are actually on the right side of morality. They might be civil. my opposition, your opposition, might be civil in their language. They might be civil in their optics. But the things that they advance, the values that they ride for, the countries that they want to defend, they're doing a whole deal of monstrous, immoral bullshit. Okay? That's why I don't care when Cory Booker says, oh, I don't know Hasan. Don't want to go on his stream. Don't really know about him, but I got a boss call from a donor and had to speak out. Okay. But you have no issue hanging out with Yoav Gallant, taking photos with a war criminal, Yoav Gallant, taking photos with the other war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu. So I welcome your anger, because it seems to me like you're not on the side of humanity anyway. You've already decided that you're in line with Israel. So thank you for making that distinction for us. Thank you for drawing a line of demarcation. Thank you for being united alongside the reactionary forces in this country in your opposition against someone like myself. That's it. They are united in their hatred of us, and we must welcome their hatred. Here is Fox News interviewing some people at the line from Michigan State University.
Lined up and packed into these rallies, and they ate up the anti-war, anti-capitalist, and anti-establishment messages from both Piker and El Sayed. Here's a bit of what some of those students told us.
I don't think it's too far left. I think the Democratic Party has gone so far right.
Democratic Party was also against Zoran campaigning with Hasan, and we see how that went.
I think that they're really just trying to shut down Abdul's race early, because I don't think they want another Zoran, and I think that they see Hasan as a way to do that because of his, statements that are framed as controversial.
Boom. HasanAbi heads, you made me proud. You made me proud. Those are great quotes. Those are bars, baby. Let's go. I'm surprised the Fox banner didn't just say Dr. Jihad speaks on the destruction of the West. I think we have to be a little bit more bold, right? We have to be a little bit more bold. We have to demand that our politicians are more bold as well. They need to demonstrate conviction. They need to demonstrate courage. They need to demonstrate their morality, their moral compass. For far too long, politicians, especially on the Democratic Party side, have been so scared of doing so. And that, unfortunately for them, translates to inconsistent messaging. That, for them, translates to exactly what people feel about politicians in general, right? People have this idea that politicians are cowards. They're constantly telling people what they want to hear, what they perceive is what people want to hear. Everything is focus tested. Every message is perfectly framed to maximize output, to maximize the number of people that are not offended by it, right? And yet, when you look at the politicians that are some of the most successful, some of the most popular politicians, you see that moral conviction. You see that stubbornness. You see someone being uncompromising in their values, right? Bernie Sanders, even Zoran Mamdani to a certain degree, right? And they are rewarded with love. They're showered with praise. Okay? These are some of the more resilient forces in American politics. And it might take a while for people to start recognizing that these politicians were right, like Bernie was right. It might take a while for people who have voted against Bernie Sanders, who thought Bernie Sanders was a malignant force in Democratic Party politics because they ruined the chances of their favorite candidates, the establishment liberals, the centrists, the center-right figures. But eventually, defeat after defeat causes them to really reconsider, and that's what we're seeing in the base of the party right now, and that's precisely why people are attacking me. Because in their minds, they think I'm a singular force. I'm not. Okay? I'm not. I'm not alone. I can stand on my values. I can stand on my convictions and continue doing what I'm doing because I'm not alone. That's it. Yeah. They might look like they're attacking me, but they're actually trying to attack you. I'm just in the way. Anyway, there's more to it. We'll look at some of the other ridiculous smears now. Here, we'll get into it. Let's take a look at some of the Fox News coverage. This is just from this morning.
Progressive Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed appearing with controversial streamer Hasan Piker at a Michigan State rally where he refused to reject his past comments.
Abdul, are there any views that Hasan holds that you disavow while you're with him right now?
I'm not here to disavow people's views. I'm here to have a conversation about how to get money out of politics, put money back in pockets, and pass Medicare for all. That's the conversation that folks are here to listen to. This whole gotcha game, platform policing, cancel culture, I thought we were over it.
Let's bring in New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. Okay, so he said that afternoon. But earlier, that same day, yesterday, this is what he said when I pushed him on it. Watch.
Of course, I oppose rape. Of course, I don't think 9/11 was justified. But because you appear with somebody doesn't mean you agree with them on everything. My question to you is, when did we start bending to cancel culture? When did we...
Wait, that's consistent. Like, okay, so he repeated the exact same things that he said later in the day that he said to you as well. Do words matter? This is very strange. He's saying the same things to you in that moment. It's exactly the same, as a matter of fact. I fear that the dumber we get, the more reliable this kind of smear campaigns happen to be. Because we see this on Twitter, right? In so many circumstances where someone will just be like, Hasan hates Vietnamese people or whatever. And then you look at the video and it's like me criticizing a MAGA right-winger who's utilizing their position, who's using their background, identity politics as a shield to demonstrate fascist politics, to demand violent policies that I oppose, right? And people don't even watch the fucking clip. They just literally read the description if they're fortunate enough to be literate, and they just go along with it. Like, no one actually looks at the context that's in the fucking smear any longer.
Start saying that cancel culture was okay, because clearly on your show you have a number of people who you don't agree with, including me, and I think it's important for all of us who want to win votes, who want to build America, to go and talk to anyone, anywhere.
So he didn't have any problem saying earlier in the day that he didn't agree with the comments. But when he's face to face with the man, he didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it really is hilarious.
That is the New York Post columnist writing hit jobs on you. She's writing one story per day on you, and now they are interviewing her. They assigned her to cover you and everything you do. They assigned another reporter to cover you. You're anti-Asian now. That is crazy. Aren't Turkish people considered Asian? That was such a big stretch. Yeah, none of that stuff matters.
And I think that El Sayed is just an opportunistic politician. He knows that Democrats have a big problem attracting the sort of Gen Z and particularly male vote. And that's Hasan Piker's apparent audience. He spews his bile every day to an audience on this gaming platform. A whole bunch of young boys, I guess, in their parents' basement, playing games and listening to his expletives and abuse. It's really cartoonish abuse. He breaks every taboo. He says America deserved.
Yeah, the problem is you like that. You like that when it's your guy doing it, right? That's the issue. I mean, we know that to be the case. They love Trump. This is Fox News. That's exactly what Trump does. But when they see a Trumpian style figure demonstrating left populism, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is not appropriate, mate. How dare you? How dare you violate the norms and social taboos?
9/11, he condones the October 7 attacks on Israel.
And then they just make up a whole bunch of shit, but it's like it's impossible to fucking deal with the faucet, the barrage of misinfo.
You know, you pointed all of that out very well. But it's not just El Sayed, it's also Rashida Tlaib, it's also Ro Khanna. Some pretty mainstream Democrats are quite happy to stand alongside him and sort of launder his rank abuse as being normal commentary. And
yeah, I mean, look, fair is fair. Okay, I'm a bully to bullies. Okay, I've never shied away from that. If your worldview is toxic, if you have repulsive ideals that you are committed to advancing, if you're a reactionary, if you're a neo-Nazi, if you want to develop a white nativist anti-immigrant agenda and push for it, I'm going to shit on you. I'm not going to be nice. It doesn't matter what your background is. What matters is what your values are. Okay? And I'm pretty open about that, but it's really funny that they try to unironically flip the script and try to do this woke shit. Okay? Because that's what this is, right? This is what they have complained about with respect to the Democrats, with respect to the liberals, over and over and over again. It's so funny. And while they're doing it, they're also leaning into the Islamophobia too. While they're doing it, they're like, well, he's doing it Muslim style. Have you guys noticed that he's doing it Muslim style? These are dangerous Islamic forces at play. You're being a fucking snowflake.
by doing that, they just lower the tone for everybody. And, you know, Amazon's obviously quite happy to have him on their platform. Twitch is an Amazon subsidiary. So no one's wanting to cancel him, but it just...
Why did you bring the platform that I'm on then? Why did you bring up the platform that I'm on then if you're not trying to cancel him? Now he's trying to cancel him. Oh, no. We're just using choice quotes that are clipped out of context to fucking make him seem like a bad guy who doesn't deserve a platform at all. He's calling it Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS, right? Or no? He's collecting dollar it is. He's collecting them in the form of subscriptions like Twitch Primes that are free or for $6 dues. He's saying support the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS. He's saying for tomorrow's news today, he's saying thank you, Blonde Bob, for the 50 gifted subs. Or no, 50 gifted subs. EP Lee Pro, thank you for the 10 gifted. Crocodactyl, thank you for the 5. Sitoid Run, thank you for the 5 gifted. Marat Space Laser with the 5. He's getting subscriptions. He's farming donos. Donors. Arnors. Fucking hell. Little Beast then. Gringo Suck. Sublime K. Loga Donut. Cap'n Spike. 20 gifted subs. Crikey. The subs keep rolling. The sobbery dues, they keep rolling in. Ex-Arthur, Sebastian Licks, Bad Rake, Iron Boy, Superfist Dandy. Thank you. Thank you for the gifted subs. Ha! Shigella Girl, My Bourbon Pod. Mango Cake with another 50. Julia Palooza with a 5. Pegium. Okay, I'm done reading. All right. Yeah. It is funny that they're just like, they fucking complain about all this shit, and it's just like, it doesn't, you know.
calls into question
It's irrelevant.
what kind of people these Democrats are, these progressives are. But it worked for Mamdani. Bernie Sanders and AOC like appearing with Hasan Piker. But, you know, I think they ought to really look at his followers because on X recently, it's been exposed that he might have, you know, 1 million plus followers, but a huge percentage of them are unverified. I think only 1.5% are actually verified followers. And that's the pattern you see when there are bots.
That's exactly the opposite, by the way. No, it's not bots that are unverified followers, but I like that that's what they think. No, motherfucker, have you seen the state of blue checkmark replies? No one in my community is ever going to fucking pay, or most people in my community are not going to fucking be caught dead paying for Elon Musk's Nazi-ass platform. I tried to explain this to people. I was like, you know, I'm like on auto block lists, right? I've been blocked automatically by so many people because I have a blue check mark because I got grandfathered into it because I'm a power user. I'm a power user of Twitter.
Come in, they're paid, they boost someone's figures, and therefore their algorithm, which doesn't discern, rewards them. And so he is a fully, you know, constructed, imaginary person, sort of.
So why are you spending every waking moment covering me then? It's like, that also doesn't make sense. I agree. I'm some irrelevant person. You should leave me alone. You should stop talking about me. I agree with that entirely. So why the fuck are you on your 11th article on me? Why are you on Fox News talking about me, right?
Avatar of whoever it is that wants to, whether it's himself or anybody who wants to disrupt and sow chaos and discord in America, would elevate this man and his rancid, toxic views to mainstream.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder the people within the community that are also elevating this as well. I think there's this growing.
All right. One more.
Welcome back. Some Democrats are pumping up on a controversial live streamer, Hasan Piker's channel. If you don't know him, that's okay. Here's a little taste of who he is.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
It doesn't even matter. None of this justifies that Palestinians have a right to dignity, a right to emancipation, a right to live free lives, free from this occupation. Respect to Fox News. Respect to Fox News for showing the full context. Once again, makes it a lot more difficult for them to argue against, right? Because, you know, all of a sudden, not a bad take, but a good take. It doesn't matter if rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
America deserved 9/11. You know, with statements like that on the record, you think Democrats might want to keep their distance. But no, they don't. Instead, many are cozying up to Hasan Piker, treating him and going on his platform like a campaign stop.
I'm 33 years old. Yeah, we're the same age, which is crazy because I'm a loser and you're running for mayor of New York. That's wild.
I went to Japan recently and I got both of you guys gifts. This one's for you. This is a Palestinian movement in Japan.
This is your third time on the stream.
But the first time in your studio.
Yeah, the first time ever.
Which is all in like Christmas holiday spirit. I didn't know that. I didn't know you had the Christmas spirit.
So AOC, Bernie Sanders, Mamdani, and then at the end there you saw Ro Khanna, congressman, who today, after you heard, was on that stream for 3 different occasions, was asked about his association with Piker.
Why would you not dissociate yourself from Hasan Piker? Why?
Well, first of all, I have gone on every media podcast. I go on Theo Von. I've gone on Sean Ryan.
You're going to go on Alex Jones?
I would not go on Alex Jones, but Hasan
Piker. Just as bad.
No, but Hasan Piker, I have criticized some of his statements. I have said that, of course, America didn't deserve 9/11 and that we were justified in attacking Al-Qaeda.
Like, this is the other side of it, though. Like, they have to. This is why I say, like, you just be honest, man. Be honest. Like, I'm not just as bad as Alex Jones. Is the whole point, right? Like that's because that's the other side of it where you come across like you're being a little shifty with it. And you look unprincipled because it's like, it's ridiculous. This comparison is ridiculous. Like there is a reason why people who wouldn't go on Alex Jones don't have an issue with going on my stream. And that's because I do the exact opposite of what Alex Jones does. You got to admit, some of the things you said are pretty controversial. Okay, let's take one of the quotes they're using, right? Sexual assault happening or not happening doesn't change the justification for the genocide that Israel is conducting, right? Do you think that's a controversial statement? No, it's not a controversial statement at all. But you can present it as a controversial statement if you rob it of its context. Even with America Deserved 9/11, if we're talking about blowback, I'm fairly certain that the overwhelming majority of Americans can comprehend the logic behind that, right? The point is, I'm talking for 10 hours a day. You can get me to appear as though I'm subscribing to some of the most dangerous ideas that I oppose on a daily basis, right? And they do that. They are doing that, right? Over and over and over again. Don't know about majority. I think most people understand that on its face, the reason why 9/11 happened, obviously it's unjustifiable. You know, civilians were slaughtered. I'm not in favor of that. Most people would not be in favor of that unless it's, you know, civilians overseas and brown people that are being slaughtered. But most people understand 9/11 happened because we fucked around all over the region. We set up these guys. We armed them. We trained them. It's true. We did it. I mean, it's part of the political game. Smear campaigns by politicians live their whole life trying to cover their past. Okay, but notice how you actually backtracked and then compared me to a politician. I'm not a politician. And I don't even think politicians have to do that any longer. We're living in a post-Trump universe. Okay? As long as you have your values, as long as you have your convictions, a lot of this stuff is just noise. We give it power. We give it power by paying attention to it, and we give it power by responding to it with fear. Right? That's it. You're still in politics game, though. They're going to throw this in your face your entire life. Yeah, I know. I don't care. Do you think you can tell reliably what a person represents or who a person is by those who choose to actively smear them, their ideological opponents who are very clearly trying to manufacture outrage? Or do you have the capacity to think critically and make up your own mind? Because we all know the real reason why you thought right. We all know the real he's Asmongold chatter. We all know the real reason why people are doing this is because they oppose not just my worldview, but they also oppose your worldview too. Like they are fearful that there is a big movement of people who oppose Israel's influence on American politics, for example.
Money in your Medicare for? That's right. That we can have nice things, but we can't do it alone. That the only way to do it is to do it together.
It is my great honor to be standing alongside incredible candidates and incredible politicians like Abdul El-Sayed.
We've got an opportunity to change the face of American politics, and we will not back down.
Dude, I saw a guy who doesn't like you, calls you a dog shark, defending you from CNN and mainstream media only help you, especially when it comes from both sides. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, someone said, well, now that you're eating all the downsides, Why don't you run for office? I mean, you got a little taste of one day of campaigning and what that looks like. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I'm much more effective at like leaning into candidates that have the time and have the money and have the background to be able to engage in this. My impact would be limited to one singular race as opposed to 10 races, 20 races, maybe 100 races. You understand? That's what it is. It's virtually impossible for me to do 8 to 10 hours of news coverage on a daily basis, develop a community of like-minded individuals from all around the country, and then use that as a force to be reckoned with to prop up candidates that demonstrate our values, that are more responsive to our needs, than to hyper-focus on one race and maybe even lose at the end of that, right? A totally different set of skills there.
In the wealthiest nation on earth, or whether you are in Detroit or Lansing or Ann Arbor or Pittsburgh or Philly, that we deserve clean air and clean water. Every single person here should be able to go to a doctor. We deserve to live in a country that says that we should have a home. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed not only understands we have a right to breathe clean air, he is going to move with the urgency that is needed.
We are strong when we are united.
When they tell us that we cannot stand up and abolish ICE, we don't back down. When they tell us that we cannot believe in a future that is bigger than the present we have, we don't back down.
Hell yeah. Am I propagandized? No. It's 1,000 Michiganders that came out to see Summerlee and Abdul with Hasan Piker that are wrong. Yeah, exactly. The thing that I've also learned though, in you know all the years of withstanding these fucking smears that just like they keep unearthing over and over again and like trying to create panic around as though it's new, like they're reheating the same old fucking dusty nachos at this point, is there are always going to be people that lean into it. There are always going to be people that are invested in being duped, right? It's that simple. But what matters most is who you are, what you believe in, what you want to advance in this country. That's all it is at the end of the day. And then the rest is hoping that people have that capacity to be charitable, hoping that people have that capacity to think critically and dive deeper and try to understand like why people are attacking me, for example.
I have said that I do not agree with the anti-Semitism, but there are a lot of people that Hasan Piker speaks to who are upset with the war in Gaza.
The idea that Democrats are going to expand their platform and therefore they should be open to appearing with people like Hasan Piker is on its face absurd. Of course, they wouldn't extend that same courtesy to Republicans to show up on far-right, politically incorrect.
Yeah, good thing you guys have always been... good thing you guys have always been really considerate of the Democratic wishes, dude. And you always do the... That's so funny. Good thing that you guys don't actually align with far-right figures. Like, what do you mean? The entire party's fucking far-right. Randy Fine's in Congress. I mean, half of the people... The person that he literally has on, Chip Roy, says heinous shit, like incredibly racist shit in a brief moment. Here, let's watch.
Podcasts. But it's not just showing up on his platform. Democrats are standing on stage with Piker. One of them is Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed. This is the same candidate who didn't want to comment on Ayatollah Khamenei's death, saying some of his voters might be upset.
I also want to remind you guys that there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are sad today. So, like, I just don't want to comment on Khamenei at all. Like, I don't think it's worth even touching that.
Syed, by the way, also considers the United States to be under a regime.
I'm no apologist for any regime, including our own. And at the end of the day, the question is whether or not a leader focuses on his or her people. Clearly, the Ayatollah did not. And clearly, Donald Trump and this administration is not either.
Joining me now is Texas Congressman and currently running for Texas Attorney General. It is Chip Roy. Congressman, it's great to see you.
Good afternoon, Will.
Glad to have you here in Dallas. So after the 2024 election, I think one of the things that Democrats told themselves is we got to get out there. We got to be on more podcasts. And they're using that excuse to explain their association with people like Hasan Piker.
Well, look, I think what we're seeing with Piker is just an indication of where the Democratic Party is today, where they are currently. I will give at least a little credit to Haley Stevens, who seemed to at least partially distance herself. She's a colleague of mine. But, El Sayed, who you just talked about, was openly embracing it. And this is, I think, a pretty equal race. I mean, he's certainly polling somewhere around 30% and has a real shot at being, I think, the first Muslim United States senator. This is something we're seeing in the significant march of Islam across the United States.
Insanity. Okay? That's just complete insanity. This is a significant march of Islam across the United States. Imagine saying that about a Jewish candidate, being like, yep, this is the malignant force of Judaism in the United States. Like, you would obviously get fucking yelled at, you know? It's ridiculous. Double standard, once again.
Something that's been concerning to me and a lot of my colleagues is we've created the Sharia Free America Caucus. My friend Keith Self, local congressman from Collin County, just north of here, dealing with Epic City. But also what we've been seeing, obviously, with Mamdani, who you just showed the clip, where Mamdani is sitting there saddling up with Piker. There's no shame here in dealing with someone who literally just said that he wasn't going to be concerned about rapes after October 7th. I mean, what kind of a human being is that? Let's put aside the absurdity of saying that America deserved it on 9/11. He's literally justifying or ignoring rapes.
Remember when you said on election night in New York that you would kill yourself if you were proven liability to Mamdani? They're trying to make you one, so you do it. Don't listen to them because they're scared. Yeah, I'm not going to actually kill myself, dude. The fuck?
In a post-October 7th world, this is something that is fully out of touch with most Americans. But unfortunately, it's very indicative of the move of the Democratic Party towards this side and this radicalization and the March of Islam throughout America.
And not just, I feel like, on the March of Islam, but Hasan Piker represents something else. He is
the entire party that protected Jeffrey Epstein and the president's friendly, familiar relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is now trying to make it seem like I don't care about sexual assault. You are a Republican. The fuck are you talking about? You have no leg to stand on here. We know what your attitude is on this issue. Okay? Obviously, it's also bullshit. Okay. Hello. Obviously, it's bullshit, right? They're chopping up what I was saying. What's up? The response to this is, do you not care about genocide? And the answer is yes, they don't, but they can't say that out loud. Well, some do, but most of them can't say that out loud anymore because it's become a repulsive position to maintain. It was already morally repugnant, but now the majority also finds it to be morally repugnant, so they just turn around and fucking lie about my position. You know? If they actually cared about sexual assault, they'd bring Israel to heel. Israel literally had so much public pressure from international forces that they had to actually prosecute 6 rapists in one of their concentration camps, Sde Tayman. What happened afterwards? They had a January 6th that was pro-rape, objectively. They got those guys out. The Israeli government dropped the prosecution. Benjamin Netanyahu paraded the rapists and even apologized for the prosecution that they withstood, presented them as victims and then heroes. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, what do you mean? You can't do that if the Israeli government is saying, like, yeah, rape is actually a sport for our forces, you know? Perfectly valid. I mean, they had a Knesset meeting. They had an emergency Knesset meeting where one of the fucking ministers of the Knesset straight up said, rape is justifiable against Palestinians. Like, the fuck are we talking about? Thank you, Cood Dude, for the 100 gifted subs.
Self-admitted revolutionary communist. Yeah. His vision is to have communism through revolutionary mechanisms here in America. And to your point, this is where they are now on the left. This is now where the American Democratic Party is. They are cozying up to a guy who's saying, let's go, communism through revolution.
Yeah, and this is the Red-Green Alliance, right? This is not new. This is something we've been seeing across the entire world.
The Red-Green Alliance, Islamo-communism.
We're seeing it in full display in Paris, full display in London. We have, a massive movement occurring. I just met with a very accomplished Indian American here in Dallas who was talking about their experience in India, their experience in the move of Islam and how that radicalization has hit India. And he was saying, look, we just don't want this to happen to America. So we came here to be free from that. And that Red-Green Alliance, the march of Marxism, combined with it, this is all well funded. This is one of those things.
It is pretty funny that these guys have no method other than like repeating exactly what the Nazis said and did. But they just added the new seasoning, which is instead of saying it's Judeo-Bolshevism, they say it's Islamo-Bolshevism, Islamo-communism. Is the same exact shit.
That as Attorney General, I want to look at. Open up the books to these NGOs and nonprofits that are all getting funded to advance this radicalization throughout the state. This is something we have the power to do. It's something we should do. It's something.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, open up the books and you will find that I am funded entirely by my community, and that's it. I don't even take corporate sponsorships for the most part. What are you going to find? You're going to find that, I got tier 1 to tier 3 subscribers to the Piker Broadcasting Service, PBS, baby. That's it. Yeah, sheesh. I know he's an anti-Muslim racist, Chip Roy, but amazing to see him just say out loud, it's bad that we might have a Muslim U.S. senator. Imagine saying this about a Jewish politician or a black politician. The bigotry is off the charts in the GOP and regularly ignored by mainstream media. Yep. Meanwhile, you got liberal forces, right, that are supposed to stand against this from a purely partisan perspective even. The Democrats and the liberal media organizations that are supposed to be attacking this stuff are leaning into it. They're leaning into it over and over again. It's fucking unbelievable. Yeah. This is a big reason behind the 3-week unhinged Hasan Piker smear discourse. We may be living through a major pivot point for U.S.-Israel relations after the Obama-Biden experiences with Bibi, Trump's Iran war, plus the cataclysmic shift in U.S. voter opinion. Democrats won't go back to the way things were. Israel critics are rising on the right, too. They know that this is happening, and they're trying to deflect and distract to performatively lash out, endeavoring in vain to reassert control and force the toothpaste back into the empty tube, but that's not how this works anymore. Can't wait for Big Yahoo to mention my streamer.
Something that I'm talking to Secretary Besson about, something that I'm talking to Todd Blanche about. There's a coordinated effort in Washington, and I'll bring that to Austin and work with them to try to root it out.
Our Vice President J.D. Vance today was in Hungary, and he gave a speech where he got a surprise call from the president. Watch.
And then the rest of this is just lame shit. More, the bottom line with Dagan McDowell and Brian Brenberg. Okay, that's fake. That's not real. We're skipping that one.
Happening right now on the campus of Michigan State University is a senatorial candidate causing Spartan leadership to respond. It's our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jordan.
This is the top story for the local news. That's crazy.
Democratic hopeful Abdul Al-Sayed is at Anthony Hall with U.S. Representative Summer Lee of Pennsylvania and social media commentator Hasan Piker. Piker has come under fire for saying the 2023 attack on Israel by Hamas was a direct consequence of action by the U.S. and Israeli governments. And if Hamas soldiers raped people during the attack, it didn't change the dynamic for him. Here for you now from East Lansing is our Zach Prees. And Zach, what has Al-Sayed and Piker said so far?
Siobhan, Jorma, it is certainly quite lively inside Anthony Hall right here in East Lansing. We got here just about an hour ago, and supporters have been streaming in ever since. Now, unfortunately, we're unable to go live actually inside inside the building. Security would not allow us to do that, so we are going to be outside today for you guys. We expect El Sayed, he's going to be joined tonight by controversial commentator Hasan Piker, who is known for live streaming his far-left political commentary daily on Twitch, which some have called radical, and Pennsylvania Rep Summer Lee. El Sayed, who is campaigning for the 2026 Democratic nomination for Senate here in Michigan, previously ran for governor of Michigan in 2018. Some have called out El Sayed, like former Republican congressional representative and Senate candidate Mike Rogers, who called him too radical for Michigan. It's important to note that Rogers could actually face El Sayed in the election if Sayed does win the nomination.
Damn, bro, I don't think you would have been able to live stream inside of the fucking show either. What is this? Abdul Sayed defends. What the hell is it? All right, we're done. We're done with this. All right, we're gonna get back to the situation monitoring in a second. The last two pieces I wanted to show you is that it got to such a point. It got to such a point that they are doing this thing where they tied me to Janet Mills, but like I think it's a perfect example of how stupid these guys are, like how little they care. Because hold on, maybe they're trying to like tie me to a campaign that's going to fail, the Janet Mills campaign, or maybe they just didn't even think about it and they're just trying to associate me with like any politician that I've brought up. But this was very funny. Town Hall, RNC Research, they all did this. Radical spokesman for the Democrats, Hasan Piker, offers his full endorsement of Janet Mills, and it's a compilation of the times where I've like jokingly said I'm Pills Mafia, Janet Pills Mills, all part of the Janet Mills militia, and therefore this kind of stuff doesn't matter to me. Okay, I've already made my most ethical voting decision in Maine. I understand that people can change, but he has not earned the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't properly renounced his service. He hasn't condemned Blackwater. He is Nazi Inc. He needs to show us that he's changed. You don't give people a chance like this as their first, second chance. You don't put them in positions of sweeping political power because there's a chance he's changed. I mean, that's why I feel like a lot of people don't have any argument to when I say, yeah, that's why I'm a Mills Mafia. This is precisely the reason why I am riding with Janet Mills, who has a track record that is clear. If those are the two options on the Democrat front, you know, if we're gonna be serious about it, then what do? Janet Mills all the way. We're all. Yeah, I don't even fucking know. I don't even know what they're trying to do at this point. Like, I feel like they're just like throwing shit at the wall. But it's like very clear that I'm being fucking sarcastic. And yet, I guess they either don't understand that, they don't comprehend it. I don't know. This obvious stupidity or just lack of understanding for modern commentary is why they're boosting you instead of smearing you. Yeah. I guess chatters were right. Yeah, this is funny. Love that you're an anti-Semite according to them, but your audience is also concerned about Nazi Inc. Yeah, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense at all. And I think it's partially because they just like don't know exactly how to attack me. So they're just throwing shit at a wall, seeing what fucking sticks. Do we have the full Dana Fash hit though? Because I think there was something very interesting in that. So as I was telling you, that's the last thing I'm going to look at before we get back to situation monitoring. Yeah, Dana Fash did a whole piece on me. Hasan Piker tests the limits of the Democratic Party's Big Tent. 7 minutes and 45 seconds.
Now.
Okay. 7 whole minutes and 45 whole seconds. We're obviously going to be covering that. I was literally on the plane watching CNN, monitoring the situation when Dana Fash did this piece on me. It is not dissimilar to the one that Jake Tapper had done 2 weeks prior at the beginning of this like Hasan smear campaign. But it's also very interesting.
To the Michigan Senate race,
Let's
where
take a
a
look.
Democratic candidate is forging a controversial alliance with a left-wing streamer who has defended Hamas terrorists. Abu al-Sayed campaigned yesterday with 34-year-old Hasan Piker, who has more than 3 million followers on the gaming platform Twitch, as well as YouTube. Here he is at the al-Sayed rally in Ann Arbor.
Every single person in here, and myself included, saw heinous war crimes take place every single day for the past 2.5 years. And we didn't stand idly by, we spoke out. And in the beginning, it was a lot lonelier when we spoke out. They used the same exact heinous smears. They said you're anti-Semitic. They said you are a radical Islamist, you're a radical fundamentalist, but also really woke at the same time. Doesn't really make sense. And back then, I felt a lot lonelier, but I don't feel lonely anymore.
That is Hasan Piker attempting to airbrush his past statements. Here's some of what he actually has said about the depravity of the October 7th terror attack, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Quote, "It doesn't matter if effing rapes happened on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me. The Palestinian resistance is not perfect."
Dude, one of the craziest parts about this, first of all, thank you for using this cool photo. Okay, I'll look pretty good. Secondly, classic clip chimp that very, very quickly identifies what my position is. But what's really interesting about it is you'll see, just like with Jake Tapper, it is two things that are very interesting about this. Fox News, when they actually talk about that clip, they show the full context, which allows people to understand what I was saying. Maybe they disagree with it. Maybe they don't. I don't care, right? The reason why CNN doesn't offer the full context is because if CNN were to show the full context, they recognize that their audience would go, wait a minute, he's not saying like rapes are good or whatever. He's not saying it doesn't matter that rapes happen. He's saying that whether rapes happen or not doesn't change the dynamic of Israel's genocide. It doesn't justify genocide. Rapes happening or not doesn't justify Israel's genocide. That is the overwhelming majority position for many Americans, especially liberals, right? So they know that, and that's the reason why they have to clip chimp it further than even what Fox News utilizes. Because for most people at Fox News, like, they don't need this kind of clip chimping. Okay? They don't need that. They already go, oh, Hasan against Israel? All right, I'm out, you know?
Now, let that sink in. Hasan Piker is excusing sexual violence by Hamas terrorists. He also claims Hamas is, quote, 1,000 times better than Israel. Hamas is a designated terror organization, not just by the U.S., but by the EU, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, just to name a few. And here's what Piker said about the horrors of September 11th, 2001.
America deserved 9/11, dude. F it. I'm saying it. Like, we fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did.
Now, Piker did later call that comment inappropriate and said he didn't mean Americans deserved to die. Several progressive politicians have appeared with Piker on Twitch, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Bernie.
Like, she's so angry. She can't even get her words across, dude. It's the same with Jake Tapper. It's so funny. Like, it's obviously, this is obviously personal, right? She's super pro-Israel. We know that. We already know that. She's very mad that this issue is gone. She's aware of it. It's becoming increasingly more difficult for her to chime in on a strong pro-Israel stance in polite company. So she's just like angrily lashing out. It's not going to work.
Sanders and Congressman Ro Khanna. Other Democrats, including El Sayed's primary opponents in Michigan, Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens, not only refuse but both condemn Piker and his comments. My panel is back now. David Chalian?
I just think this is a fascinating bet that Al Sayed is making here, that like refusing to back down from his association with Piker, embracing it, standing with him is.
By the way, this is David Chalian, who's like their Washington bureau chief and their top policy analyst. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting perspective coming from the top policy analyst at CNN on a panel where Dana Bash clearly wants him to say something different. Listen to him and his words here.
Not only refuse, but both condemn Piker and his comments. My panel is back now. David Chalian?
I just think this is a fascinating bet that Al Sayed is making here, that like refusing to back down from his association with Piker, embracing it, standing with him is a political bet. And it doesn't mean, all those comments you went through, that will play a role here too. As you noted, McMorrow and Stevens, his opponents, are going to make this a part of the campaign. But the Sayed operation is betting the Piker popularity with the base is the safer bet in the cost-benefit analysis to make for him. And I just think that that's a really interesting thing to have us watch, because the politics of Israel inside the Democratic Party, especially in a state of Michigan, with a big Arab American population, as we saw in the 24 primary, this is still like a live wire inside the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a state where there were almost 100-something preschoolers almost murdered by a terrorist.
See, she didn't get what she wanted. Like, she wanted condemnation and that's it, right? Oh, this is devastating. This is bad for the campaign. She didn't get that. So she literally turns around and is like, well, there's a terrorist that, attacked the synagogue, as though that has anything to do with me. Like, as though that has anything to do with me at all. As though I wouldn't like fucking condemn acts like that. It's so gross. It's so nasty. It's so Islamophobic. It is what it is. It's just a fucking reality.
A live wire inside the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a state where there were almost 100-something preschoolers almost murdered by a terrorist who...
Like, that's her literally contradicting his point, being like, well, don't you think it's still fucked up? Shouldn't we rise above the machine of politics here? And doing that by also conflating me and Abdul, who will become the first Muslim senator, as we saw with what Chip Roy was talking about earlier, inshallah, with an act of terrorism on U.S. soil. It's a very insincere argument. It's a very cynical argument. There's a clear motive here. It's terror jacketing, right?
Was, thank God, stopped from doing it. Piker talked to our colleague Donnie O'Sullivan a couple of weeks ago, and I want to play what he said.
I've spent my entire professional media career and far beyond that combating anti-Semitism. I've been doxxed, swatted by neo-Nazis for my consistent advocacy against anti-Semitism. I just also happen to be an avowed anti-Zionist. I believe Zionism is a very racist ideology. It's an ethno-religious supremacist ideology, and it's the underpinning ideology that has caused the genocide of Palestinians in the hands of Israel and also the United States of America.
Now, just a little bit of sort of fact-checking here and context, because it's important, because these terms are thrown around without, understandably, people.
Yo, lean into your panel, Dana. Why are you commanding the conversation, Dana? You have not one, not two, but three panelists on there, Dana. What's going on? Notice how she played the entire hit, where I'm able to speak. All of a sudden, I'm able to convince the CNN audience, which, by the way, I still do respect that they at least show that full quote, right? Because no one, and I mean no one that's a liberal watching CNN, is going to see the first half of that and then see what I have to say right there, where it's not like a clip out of context. It's not something that they're quoting, that they claim I'm implying or saying, but me directly. All of a sudden, very different dynamic. All of a sudden, people are going to look at that and go, wait a minute, I don't think this guy's fucking anti-Semitic at all. That's why she has to then turn around and slam additional context to the conversation. Let's take a look.
Really knowing what they mean to,
I'm just
to a lot
silly.
of people. First of all, Zionism. What is it actually? It's a nationalist movement, an ideology supporting the notion of a Jewish state, the Jewish people's right to self-determination. He just called that a racist ideology, the right for Jews to have self-determination. Deborah Lipstadt, who is one of the foremost experts, academic experts, who worked in the State Department on anti-Semitism. I talked to her about this a couple of years ago and many times since. The difference between quote unquote anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Here's how she answered that.
Also, Deborah Lipstadt is a perfect demonstration of someone who does actually live that ethno-religious supremacist ideology. Someone who is in a position of power, right? Who was the anti-Semitism czar under the Biden administration, who routinely has been cooked by Isaac Chotiner and numerous others for being openly aligned with Donald Trump's goals with respect to the allegiance that we have with Israel. Someone who has said that Donald Trump has done a lot of great things, like moving the embassy to Jerusalem, all this stuff. She can't get across the argument that anti-Zionism is actually anti-Semitism. So she has to lean into experts, but the experts that she's leaning into are also known for being racist. Race against Palestinians, race against Arabs, race against Muslims. Do you understand? This is what I mean when I say they can't actually fight against the message, so they have to disparage the messenger. They have to shoot the messenger because they can't tackle the message. Here is Dana messing up and trying to actively disparage the message. It won't work. The moment that you do that, you give the game away. She should have just stuck to the quotes and just been like, he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy. Right? But the moment that she has that conversation around my worldview, my values, and why I say the things that I say, all of a sudden, it's a very different dynamic. It's indefensible from Dana Bash's perspective. And this is precisely the reason why Dana could just as easily invite me to a panel and cook me if she wanted to, right? If she had such a strong moral foundation, she could easily ask me to come on the panel. I've been on CNN already. I was on the CNN piece that Donnie conducted. But she can't do that. She has to talk over me. She has to lie about my worldview so she can try and control the way that the audience sees me. And still, in that regard, because it's such a 90-10 issue, it doesn't matter. Most people know exactly what these tactics look like, these smear campaigns look like when someone is a prominent critic of the state of Israel.
Criticism of Israeli policy is not anti-Semitism, but when you question the right of Jews to a national identity, when you question the existence of a Jewish state, you've moved beyond the political.
Yeah, I mean, when you, I think he's sort of intentionally trying to get in the weeds here to maybe shift the spotlight away from some of his past comments, which I think everyone can agree are unacceptable. But this is the broader issue, I think, in this day and age in particular, with everybody being so online, with a ton of younger voters starting to get in the mix on both sides of the aisle. The ultimate question is how far.
Yeah. The only thing that you show that is like fully framed as a question and an answer is actually me moving away from the subject matter. No, you want to stick to choice quotes that you can utilize to disparage what the actual message is. When you hear the actual message, you go, oh, he's just trying to dance around it. It's fucking bullshit.
Do we want to go with this? And one of the reasons that Democrats lost in the last election was because the American people felt like they were too far to the left and they weren't necessarily representing the average American
this part
voter.
is also bullshit. She says the Democrats lost because they went too far to the left. Yeah, really? Yeah, they went too far to the left on Palestine. Really? That's interesting. Because every single fucking poll right now shows the exact opposite of that reality. Very odd
So it's
to
really
even
interesting that you
very odd to even bring that up. It's just like it's just such a ridiculous fucking statement to make.
You have candidates who are teaming up with people who are sort of on the very far left side of it. On the flip side, you have the same issue in the Republican Party where you have fringe folks sort of trying to weasel their way into this quote unquote mainstream orbit. And there's a question with both parties of what do we do with these folks? Should we be going on their podcast? Should we be denouncing them?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important point. What was before thought of as fringe, here, both sides are definitely sort of moving into the mainstream slowly but surely. On that note, you mentioned it's Michigan, but it's beyond that. Ro Khanna, for example, he said that he has no regrets about appearing on Hasan Piker's show.
It's interesting because going back to the last presidential campaign, you were mentioning the Democrats moving to the left. Another reason they struggled is, they often face criticism on not meeting people where they were, just communication-wise, right? And, Hasan Piker, other influencers, these people have millions of followers, right? And Dems see it as a way to reach a younger, disgruntled base that is losing faith in their political system, right? But the dynamic that you're talking about, what comes with that benefit of reaching those folks? Yes, you had the interview there with Hasan Piker. I think what's even going to be more influential is the questions that are put to the politicians that choose to go on these platforms. They're also going to face the questions of whether or not they defend these statements and these views.
That's it. So two panelists that don't play the game that Dana Bash wants to play. One panelist that tries to lean into it a little bit and makes ridiculous statements in the process. But we're back to Dana Bash actually doing normal. Did you tell chat the boosted tweet is being suppressed 100%? What tweet? Oh, I did see this. Yeah. As politics grows louder, CNN's Dana Bash has become one of Washington's steadiest voices, pressing for answers, rejecting spectacle, and reminding viewers that the news, not the performance around it, still matters. Yeah. But remember, Dana is doing that for her own personal goals here. This is when you're Dana Bash, you're one of the top anchors on the network. You're dropping all pretense of impartiality, and you're totally doing this smear job, and you're failing to do so. But read the comments under that. It didn't go well. I didn't see the. Oh, you mean under this, under the PR tweet.